Let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right with a woman? Being kind, texting her back fast, telling her how much you care, doing little things to show her she matters. And then, boom, she goes cold. She pulls away. She starts acting different, like she forgot how close you two were just yesterday. It hits you in the chest like a punch. You sit there thinking, what happened? What did I do wrong? Here's the truth no one tells you, brother. You didn't do anything wrong, but you also didn't do the one thing that truly matters, and that's why she started to drift away. There is a test, a silent test. She doesn't talk about it. She might not even know she's doing it. But every woman gives it, and guess what? 90% of men fail it. Not because they're weak, not because they're bad guys, but because no one ever taught them about it. No one said, hey man, don't panic when she pulls away. Don't chase. Don't over-explain. Don't beg for her attention. Because when you do, when you try too hard to get her back, when you double text, when you ask, are you okay? When you say, did I do something wrong? You failed the test. You show her something that makes her stomach twist in the wrong way. You show her that your peace, your power, your energy is based on her mood, on her replies, on her love. And in that moment, she feels it. Something deep inside her turns away. It's not always logical, it's emotional. She doesn't even know why. But suddenly, she starts to lose respect. She starts to feel less pulled to you. She starts to look away. But there's a second group of men. The rare kind. The strong kind. The quiet storm type. The 10%. These men get tested too. They also feel the cold shoulder. They also face the silence. They also get hit with the confusing shift. But they don't react the same. They don't flinch. They don't chase. They don't beg. They breathe. They sit in stillness. They return to their purpose. They let her be, while they rise higher. Not because they're trying to make her want them again, but because they've built a life that doesn't pause for anyone. A life full of mission, a mind full of peace, a heart full of purpose. And guess what happens? Now she's the one who feels the shift. Now she's the one wondering, why isn't he chasing me? Why does he seem so calm? Why is he okay without me? That's when she starts to feel something she can't control. A pull, a curiosity, a magnet drawing her back in. Why? Because this man passed the test. He didn't try to fix her feelings. He stood still and let her come back on her own. That's the energy that flips the game. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you rare. That's what makes her want you. Deeply, emotionally, fully. Not because of what you gave her, but because of what you held inside of you. Power, peace, patience, purpose. Let me be clear. This isn't about playing it cool. This isn't about pretending you don't care. This isn't about acting like a bad boy. This is real. This is inner strength. This is masculine calmness that says, I don't need to chase. I know my worth. And I don't lose myself just because she's unsure of hers. That's the test, my friend. And now you know about it. So the next time she pulls away, remember, you're standing at a fork in the road. One path leads to fear, chasing, and emotional chaos. The other leads to strength, peace, and irresistible attraction. Which one will you choose? Because this test will come. And when it does, you can be ready. Now get ready for stage 2, where I'll show you how your peaceful absence creates more emotional craving than any words ever could. It's not what you say, it's what you withhold. 6. Your absence screams louder than any text. What if I told you the loudest thing a man can say to a woman is to say nothing at all? No texts, no calls, no checking in, no trying to fix things. Just silence. Not a weak silence, not a sad silence, but a powerful, peaceful one. The kind of silence that says, I have a life, I have a mission, and I won't lose myself just because you're unsure. Sounds simple, right? But here's the twist. Most men can't do it because most men are addicted to being available. They can't stand the space. They rush to fill the silence. They panic when she pulls away. But what they don't realize is that silence is where attraction grows. Let me explain. When you're always there, always calling, always texting, always checking in, she starts to feel like she's already won you. No mystery, no chase, no reason to wonder. And when there's no wonder, there's no spark. You become easy, predictable, safe. And guess what? Desire doesn't live in safe. It lives in the unknown. It lives in the edge. It lives in the space between what she knows and what she feels, but can't explain. So when you go silent, when you disappear into your world, when you stop trying to be available 24/7, something strange starts to happen. She starts thinking. She wonders, where did he go? Why isn't he checking on me? Is he mad? Is he fine without me? Suddenly, she's not in control anymore. Suddenly, you're not chasing her feelings. She's chasing yours. That, my brother, is where the power shifts. Not because you're being cold, not because you're playing games, but because you've stepped back into your world. The world where you are the center. The world where she is invited, but not the reason it spins. Let me say this again. Your absence is not a punishment. It's not a trick. It's not you being mean. It's you protecting your power. Because a man who can stay calm, stay busy, stay focused, while she's pulling away, that man becomes rare. And rare is irresistible. She starts to miss your voice. She starts to notice your silence. She starts to want your energy again. Not because you chased her, but because you didn't. This is what 90% of men miss. They want to say the right words. They want to fix things with logic. But emotions don't listen to words. They respond to energy. And nothing shifts a woman's emotions like a man who can walk in peace, alone. So remember this. Sometimes the best move is no move at all. Not because you don't care, but because you care more about staying true to yourself. The man on a mission is the man she can't ignore. There's something about a man who walks with a purpose. Not just walking, but moving with fire in his chest. You ever seen that look? The look in a man's eyes when he knows where he's going? That man doesn't chase women. He doesn't beg for love. He doesn't need approval. Why? Because his mission is louder than his emotions. Here's what most guys get wrong. They think being a good boyfriend means giving her all their time, dropping everything for her, waiting by the phone, checking her mood every 5 minutes. But that's not love. That's abandoning yourself. And when a woman feels you've dropped your dreams just to make her happy, she won't say it out loud, but deep down, she loses respect. The attraction fades. The mystery dies. Now flip the script. Imagine you're building something, a business, a body, a craft, a future. You wake up every morning with a goal. You don't just sit around waiting to see if she'll text. You're writing, lifting, learning, growing. Suddenly, you're not chasing. You're moving. And women can feel that. They feel when you're in your own world. And they get curious. Where's he going? Why isn't he waiting around for me? What's driving him like that? And then, something wild happens. She wants to be part of your world. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because your energy is moving forward. That's the secret, brother. When your life is full, you become hard to reach. Not because you're ignoring her, but because you're focused, busy, living, and that is what pulls her in. Because women don't want to be the whole story. They want to be part of a man's bigger story. A man with vision, a man with fire, a man who doesn't need her, but chooses her. So don't throw away your mission to get her attention. That's what 90% of men do. And that's why they lose. Stay on the path. Keep building your world. Let her chase the man who's chasing his future. And if she doesn't, then she was never meant to walk beside you anyway. Why mystery makes her heart race? Have you ever noticed something strange? People don't chase what's easy to get. They chase what's hard to figure out. What feels just a little out of reach. Now pause. Really think about that. When a man is always there, always talking, always explaining himself, it feels nice at first. But after a while, it feels predictable, like a song you've played one too many times. It loses the magic. But now picture this. She doesn't know what you're thinking. She doesn't know where you are. She wonders, is he thinking about me? She replays your last words. She reads into the small things. That's the power of mystery. You don't have to play games. You don't have to lie. You just have to stop explaining everything. Let her wonder. Let her feel a little unsure. Let her feel the space. Because that space, that's where attraction lives. You see, most guys fail this part of the test. They think women want to know everything about them right away. So they overshare. They overexplain. They open up way too fast. But women are wired for discovery. They fall in love by unfolding the mystery piece by piece. If she figures you out in 2 days, the story is already over. Think of it like a movie. Would you keep watching a movie if you already knew the ending in the first 5 minutes? Of course not. You stay glued to the screen when the story keeps you guessing, when the main character holds something back, when every scene gives you just a little more. Be that character. Be that man. Hey, so. Why scarcity changes everything? What happens when something becomes rare? It suddenly becomes valuable. Think about it. If gold was lying all over the street, would anyone care about it? Nope. People would kick it aside like dirt. But because it's hard to find? Because it's not just everywhere. People chase it, protect it, fight for it. Now, what if I told you your time, your presence, and even your attention are just like that? Most men don't know this secret. They give everything away too fast. Their time, their energy, their words, every message, every second, every chance to check in. They're always around, always available, always easy to reach. But here's the truth. If she knows you're always there, she stops wondering. And once she stops wondering, she stops chasing. But when you're a man with a life, a mission, a purpose bigger than just being liked, you naturally become more scarce. Not because you're trying to be cold, but because you're busy building something powerful. You don't drop everything to reply in 5 seconds. You don't cancel your day just to impress her. You don't show up at her feet waiting for scraps. You're not being rude. You're being rare. And do you know what happens when you become rare? She notices. She feels it, and she starts to think, where is he? What's he up to? Why hasn't he messaged me yet? Suddenly, you're on her mind. Not because you tried to force it, but because your absence made her feel your value. This is not about pretending. This is not a trick. It's about respecting yourself enough to not give your energy to everyone. It's about protecting your peace like a king guards his throne. Because if you don't treat your time as valuable, why would she? You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove. You just need to be less available, for real. Not because you're playing games, but because you have a life worth living, and she can either be part of it or watch from a distance. The man who is always around gets forgotten. The man who shows up with purpose, then disappears into his own world, that man gets remembered. That man becomes a mystery, a challenge, a rare treasure, and that's when she starts to chase you. On the next stage, we're going to dig into something even deeper: emotional energy, and why the calm, controlled man who keeps his fire inside becomes the one she can't stop thinking about. The power of being emotionally unshakable. What if I told you the most powerful man in the room is not the loudest one, not the richest one, not the best looking one? It's the man who stays calm, even when everything around him is going crazy. That's the man she remembers. That's the man she respects. That's the man she chases. Let me explain why. Most guys, they react too fast. They get upset when she pulls away. They get nervous when she doesn't reply. They feel lost when she changes her tone. One cold message, and he starts panicking. One bad date, and he starts questioning his worth. One little silence, and he's already planning how to win her back. But here's the secret you were never told. The woman watches how you react, not just to her words, but to her silence, her tests, her moods. And guess what? She doesn't want a man who crumbles. She wants a man who can stay strong, steady, and unshaken. The world already has too much noise, too much chaos, too many boys pretending to be men, but falling apart over one unread text. You must be different. When you're calm, when you're cool, when you trust yourself even when things feel weird, she feels it. She feels safe. She feels drawn in. She starts to think, what is it about him? Why doesn't he panic like other guys? Why does he feel so stable? And just like that, she starts chasing your energy. You see, women are emotional. They ride waves. They feel everything deeply. It's beautiful, but it's also unstable. What they're craving is a man who doesn't ride those same waves. A man who is the shore, not the storm. That's what makes her want to open up. That's what makes her come closer. That's what makes her emotionally collapse into you, because she finally feels something she doesn't feel with other men. Safety, peace, strength. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to be calm in your power. Speak slowly. Think deeply. Feel everything. But let nothing control you. That is a real emotional masculinity, and it makes you unforgettable. Mankin must how presence makes you magnetic without saying a word. What if I told you you could make a woman feel something deep for you without even speaking? Yes. Just by the way you walk into a room, just by how you look at her, just by how you exist. That's the secret weapon nobody talks about. It's called presence. And when you master it, she won't forget you. even if you say nothing at all. Let's break this down. Most guys talk too much. They try to impress. They over-explain. They fill the silence because they're nervous. But a powerful man, he knows that his silence speaks louder than noise. He can sit in silence, and she'll feel the tension rise. She'll start wondering, why is he so calm? Why do I feel so nervous around him? Why do I want him to look at me again? That's presence. That's energy. That's a deep pull that doesn't even need words. So what is presence really? It's when your mind, body, and emotions are in the same place. You're not stuck in the past. You're not worried about the future. You're fully here, in this moment. And women, they can sense it. They feel it through your eyes, your breath, your stillness. It feels like gravity. It draws them in like a quiet force they can't fight. Because most men are scattered, anxious, or trying too hard. But you're centered, and that makes you irresistible. Let me paint a picture. You walk into a room. You don't rush. You don't need attention. You don't fidget. You just stand like a mountain, solid, still, present. She looks at you. You hold her gaze. Just a second longer than usual. Not creepy, not needy, just grounded. And then you go back to your life. No chasing, no proving, no pleasing. And her mind starts to spiral. Who was that? Why did he feel different? Why can't I stop thinking about him? This is how presence becomes attraction. It shows emotional strength. It shows calm power. It shows that your life is full and you're not begging for attention. She feels safe near you. She feels mystery around you. She feels something strong, but she can't explain it. And that is how you plant a seed in her heart, a seed that grows, a seed that pulls her back, even when you've said almost nothing. She craves the energy you withhold. Stop giving it away. What if the real reason she's not chasing you is because you've already given her everything? Your time, your attention, your energy, your mind. Think about it. When someone gives you a gift every single day, do you still feel excited by it? Or does it become normal, even boring? Exactly. That's why you must protect your attention like gold. Because when you give too much, too soon, she doesn't feel your value. She just gets used to you. Here's a hard truth. Most men are addicted to giving attention. They reply fast. They double text. They stare at her social media. They think about her all day. And guess what? She can feel it. Even if you say nothing, your energy is still reaching her. And when a woman feels like she already has your attention without having to earn it, she stops chasing. She pulls away. She doesn't feel excited anymore. Let's flip it. What happens when you stop giving away that energy? Suddenly she feels the space. She feels something missing. She wonders, why isn't he watching my stories? Why didn't he reply yet? Is he thinking of me or someone else? Now she's the one chasing. Now she's the one wondering. Now you are the prize. That's the power of energy control. Not manipulation, not games, just detachment from obsession. Your attention is your most powerful currency. It's like sunlight. Too much, and the flower wilts. Just enough and it blooms. Give her the right amount. Then pull it back and return to your purpose. Let your absence be felt. Let her miss the warmth. Let her wonder if she still has your mind. And when she's unsure, she gets curious. And when she's curious, she chases. Remember, you don't win by doing more. You win by doing less and being selective with your presence. Make her earn it. Make her feel lucky to have it. And make sure she never takes it for granted. Get ready for the next stage. We're diving into something wild. How your emotional reactions secretly tell her whether you're a boy or a man. And why silence during chaos is the most powerful move you can make. Why your calmness makes you unstoppable, even when everything is falling apart. Imagine this. Everything around you is shaking. Chaos everywhere. People yelling. Stress crushing down. But you're like a still lake. Nothing moves you. You're calm, unbreakable, strong. Sounds impossible, but here's the secret. That calmness is what makes women lose their minds over you. Most men explode when things get tough. They panic. They get angry. They look weak. And women, they can smell it right away. But the men who pass the test, they don't run. They don't yell. They breathe deep and stay steady. This kind of calm is magnetic. It shows you have control. It says, I'm strong inside. It screams, I'm a man who doesn't get scared by life. And guess what? Women want that. They want to feel safe around a man who doesn't lose his head. Here's what most men don't get. Your feelings don't have to control you. You can feel upset, mad, sad, and still be the master of your emotions. It's not about hiding feelings or being cold. It's about choosing how you respond. When you learn to stay calm, you send a message louder than words. I'm a rock. I'm steady. I'm not easily shaken. This builds your aura, the kind of energy that makes her want to lean in, to trust, to chase. So next time the world feels crazy, don't run or shout. Take a deep breath, hold your ground, and watch how your calmness makes you unstoppable. Get ready for the final stage. We're wrapping this up with the final secret, the hidden power inside real confidence, and why it's never about money, cars, or status. The secret of real confidence, why it's not what you think. You might think confidence means showing off money, cars, or big muscles. But what if I told you that stuff means nothing? Real confidence lives inside you. And when you master it, women can't help but be drawn to you like a magnet. Most guys try to look confident on the outside. They buy fancy things, they brag. But inside they're scared. Their confidence is fake, and women can feel that fake from a mile away. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to shout or show off. It's calm. It's steady. It's built on one simple truth. You approve of yourself. When you know who you are, when you like yourself without needing others to say it, that's real power. That's the kind of confidence that shines through your every move. It doesn't depend on what you have or what you look like. Here's the thing. Real confidence grows when you get good at stuff. When you learn, practice, and get better at things that matter to you. Competence builds confidence. And that feeling, it's like armor. It protects you from doubt and fear. And guess what? When you live with this kind of confidence, women notice. They sense your strength, your calm, your peace. You don't have to chase or prove anything. You just are. And that's irresistible. So stop trying to be someone else. Start building yourself. Chase your purpose. Master your emotions. And watch as the world and she starts chasing you. This is the final secret. The real test 90% of men fail. But when you pass it, you become a man who's truly irresistible. The journey starts now. Are you ready?